Welcome back to Edgework here on the Hammer Betting Network, a daily live NHL show Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Today is Friday, March 24th. Only 3 games on the schedule again here tonight. This is getting tiring, having to flip back and forth of all the games, then to go to 3 games. But nonetheless, we do have best bets for you here tonight. As you can see here, So Money joining me on this Friday. Rob switched over, went to the Thursday show yesterday, and So Money, I think that, it's just a conspiracy at this point, but I think Rob might have done that intentionally. He kept looking at the schedule on these Fridays and was like, there's no games, and then just said, all right, forget it. So Money can deal with the Friday show with minimal games. What do you think about that there?
I actually have a whole new respect for Rob. Because usually on a Thursday morning, I come on, there's like my phone is buzzing, lines are moving, all the notes are coming in from the NHL team. And this morning, I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs, like I don't know what to do, right? So only 3 games. We'll do our best to talk about it. I do have a bet and then we'll go from there. But good on Rob. I think I don't think I'd be able to do this every Friday.
Yeah, I know that next week or the next time Rob asks, hey, can we switch? It's going to be So Money who says, no,
Yeah,
not this week.
no,
No switching
yeah,
this week. We'll look through all the games here tonight, though. And if anyone in the chat has any questions, please make sure to send them in there. You can send them in the comment section. We do see them in real time here on YouTube, so we'll get to all the comments that come through. We'll address those questions, anything like that. If you have generic questions, even for So Money in terms of handicapping games, processes, things like that, we can answer those here as well, especially with a lighter slate tonight. We'll have a little bit more time to get through those. And if you have any questions about the games or you have your own best bet, then we can address those as well. So Money, I'm seeing here already, we're getting injury news. JJ5 saying Line A
yeah. I
out
just saw
tonight
that.
for Columbus. So there you go. Starting off strong. And then Matthew Bingham, before we get into the games, but bringing up your Canucks looking pretty good lately. 8-2 in their last 10. They must really hate Bedard. What are your thoughts on where the Canucks are at? I'll just ask you that before we get into the games. What are your thoughts on what the Canucks are doing and their anti-Bedard play lately?
Well, at this point, because since we're gonna finish 11th in the conference anyways, um, we're already there. So you make the best of the situation that you're in. So just play strong rest of the year. Make sure
Yep.
everybody's healthy. Look at who can play, who's going to be around for next season, and work on your buyouts, and we'll go from there.
Work on the bio. So it's pain. Do you think there's anything to take into account? Do you believe there's anything to the idea that finishing this season strong could lead them into the next season on the right foot?
It's tough. It's tough because usually I would say that it probably has no bearing for most teams, but for a team like the Canucks who are kind of developing their core and they've made their decision on kind of the core guys that that we are going to be moving forward with, as well as well as where this team came from, in the sense that clearly there was some sort of division in the locker room. Clearly there was cohesion that needed to be needed to come to the forefront here. So in that sense, I do think it matters for the Canucks, because we are going to have a lot of the same guys back. Rick Tocchet's only going to get what, like 25 games or so. So I think it does matter in the case of the Canucks.
Right. And Jeff also saying here in the chat, just get Todd on Fridays. I'm sure you can still find 15 shots on goal props even with only
There you
3
go. Yeah,
games. So yeah, that's what we'll have to do. And Todd recently added to the repertoire So Many. I don't know if you saw, but he added penalty minute props he's now
I
betting.
did.
So
Yeah,
just adding that in, we're building
I
it
love
up
it.
here. All right, let's get to tonight's game. We'll start with the first game here. I know you have a play in it. I just announced, according to JJ5 here in the chat, bringing up that there's no line A here tonight for Columbus, but the New York Islanders heading into Columbus tonight on the road. This team is 7-2-1 in their last 10. They're currently holding on to the first wild card spot in the East, and it's a tight gap. You're looking at 2 points up over Pittsburgh, 3 points up over Florida. They got the same games played as both of those teams. They're on a 3-game win streak now. You just coming off a big win against the Leafs the other night, 7-2. Looks like Brock Nelson should be good to go. But in this one, you're not looking at laying the minus 192 with the Islanders. Instead, you're looking at the total. Why would that be in this game?
Let's just go ahead and lock in that over right now, because it is on the move. We should that 6-1 115 is perfect.
All right, there you
Perfect.
go.
Yeah, so it is on the move. So for the Islanders, I think that this might be a spot to give Sorokin a bit of a breather here. Varlamov has been good. Um, he has been good this season, but again, he is still a downgrade. So we do get that upside in case that Varlamov does start. We know that we're on the sixth already. Um, Besides the Leafs game, the Islanders have actually improved their defensive play quite a bit. They are actually generating more than what we have become accustomed to um, over the years in Islanders games as well. Now they are playing Columbus, who at this point has no interest playing any sort of defense at all. So I think that it might be a little bit of a break for the Islanders, kind of getting continuing to get their offensive game going, while the Blue Jackets want to play pond hockey. Merzlikins is back with Columbus. I don't think they'll give him the start. Hutchinson has been confirmed, so that just came in right now. So Hutchinson starts, which was the other upside here on this play. So we're getting a horrific goalie in Hutchinson. We're getting a downgrade from Sorokin. We're getting an Islanders team that is generating offensively, and they get a bit of a break playing against a very weak defensive team in Columbus. And the Islanders don't really need to tighten up that much defensively, so that could be a bit of a break for them. So I did play the six. Still hoping for Varlamov, but I think the over six is the way to go here.
All right, so we did lock in the over six minus 115. We're looking around minus 120s out there as well, still available on some different books. So make sure you shop around. And again, if you do want to sign up for some new books, you see a book here that you don't have and you would like to be able to bet at, you can find in the link in the description of this video. There is a link for you to be able to sign up for new sports books. It does help out us here on the Edgework show. So if you want to sign up, please make sure to use that link. We're not going to lie to you. That helps us continue to make the content here that we do. So check that out. Click the link in the description. So, Money, I do want to ask you, though, you're looking at the over 6 minus 115. Would you have any interest in the over 6.5 here at a plus money price? What would you need out of that plus money? And then also on top of that, how far would you go with this over 6? Would you play the minus 120s on this?
I would play the 120s on the six and a half if we can get let me just do the conversion here. Um, Plus 115 on the six and a half would be good.
Okay.
And lining is out as well, but the premise of this bet is mostly on the Islander scoring. So um, would like a couple of goals from Columbus, and I think that's going to be enough for us to get the over.
Okay. And Matthew Bingham saying here, might be a good get right
Yeah.
spot for Horvat. Only has 1 point, not goal, point in March. 8 games. Still averaging 3 shots per game.
It also hurts because he was playing with Matthew Barzal as well, right? So
Yep.
you take away a guy like that, and yeah, you're gonna suffer a bit. But he is doing the right things in terms of his defensive play as well. So it looks like he's completely integrated into that lineup. So I don't worry about him too much. And hopefully when Barzal comes back, then we should see a spike in his numbers as well.
All right, now we'll move on to the next 2 games for just transparency to people. We don't have 2 plays set up here in either of these games, but we'll break each of them down. Maybe we can find something to look for. Maybe we could find a play that we might be interested in if it moves a certain way. But we'll start with the New Jersey Buffalo Sabres game. New Jersey on the road at Buffalo tonight. New Jersey continues to chug along. Looking at them right now, they're second in the Metro and close that gap on Carolina a little bit. Only 2 points back now. But even the Rangers have caught up to an extent here. Looking at them, 4 points back of New Jersey, whereas looking even a week ago, they seemed like they were about 8 points, 9 points back of New Jersey. They were trailing off a little bit, but New Jersey coming into this one, they're 5-3-2 in their last 10. On the road, they've been very good so far this year, 26-5-4, going up against a Buffalo team here tonight at home who is on a 4-game losing streak. They're 2-6-2 in their last 10, and they have now fallen to 8 points out of a playoff spot. Is there anything in this game, so money at all, that could entice you to place a bet? Is there anything that could drag you in, or is this completely a stay away game?
It's not completely a stay away. So the Devils have lost 4 of their last 5, but really the only loss that I dinged them for was the loss in Florida, and they had a 2-0 third period lead in that game. So I'm not I'm not concerned about them at all. They are continuing their strong offensive play right now, even though the goals they're not coming in as consistently as their metrics would dictate. Um, and if you want to kind of get right offensively, well, what better way to do so than a game against the Sabres, who,
Right.
like Columbus, have absolutely no interest in playing defense right now. Now, I did look at the over. I think that it's been bet into place with a very juiced 6.5, 7. If that dips a little, I have interest in the over. I think that this would be a game for the Devils to start putting up some goals here. I know that they've struggled with their power play a bit. They kind of moved some guys around, so I think that this might be a situation where the Devils are able to put up some goals. Even if you want to look at the team total on the Devils, I think that's fine. Although what concerns me about that is that there's some uncertainty with the Buffalo goaltending right now. They got a new kid there taking practice, so I'm just waiting to see if he's who's going to start there. I don't want to be in a situation that I was in the Ottawa Pittsburgh game where I got Dylan Ferguson. So
Yeah,
I
the
think that,
Fergler.
yeah, I wanna wait a bit until I get some confirmation on the Buffalo goalie, but um, UPL, yeah, okay,
There, Zack
yeah, I
confirmed
think
there.
that
UPL.
yeah, he's been struggling as well. So I think we can actually go ahead and lock in the Devils team total over. I like that better than the oh no.
The over 3.5 minus 142.
No, it's been juiced out. So okay, if that dips a bit, we'll be good. So either either if that game total comes down a bit or that team total comes down, that's the way that I'd be looking. But I'm not laying minus 142 right now on that.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. So, for anyone keeping track here, we got close to locking in the over 3.5 on the Devils team total, and then just scrap that. It is currently sitting at minus 142. We're looking at, so that is a no go there. But if you're looking at the full game here, so when you talked about maybe you'd have some interest in the full game total. What would you need it to get to there? Would you still play it at an over 7 if it got to a certain price? Would you need it to go down to a 6.5? And where would you play it at that? Like, what would you be looking for in those?
Yeah, in today's NHL, I actually have no problem playing over sevens, which sounds ridiculous
Yeah.
if you had asked me that like 3-4 years ago. But in this situation, we're pretty much at a 7 right now. So um, over 7, when I do the conversion, it's about plus 116 that I would need on the
Okay.
over. So plus 116 on the over 7 would be what I would targeting. On the 6.5, I would go up to minus 130 in this case on the 6.5.
Okay, so if you are shopping around at different books, you can see there's a plus 115 out there on the over 7. It's not quite where so money needs it at for the plus 116. And in terms of the over 6.5, we seem to be somewhat farther off. You can find a minus 135. There is one hanging around, but for the most part, you're sitting at basically minus 140 or higher or lower, however you'd like to say that. But on those over 6.5s there, so someone who's looking for a minus 130. Now, there's another question here for you. We did pull up the screen. We looked at the team total over 3.5 minus 142 for New Jersey. Derek Vanderwall here is asking, what's a price to target on the team total? He's seeing minus 135 out there for a book that he has. What is there anything specifically that you would look at, a number that you would need to get to for the team total on New Jersey?
Yeah,
I
so
know I'm
for
putting you on
the
the spot.
no, you're not no, it's fine. Let me just bring it up here. So on the team total where I have New Jersey projected, I would need them. Yeah, I'm way off. I would have needed them minus 125, and
Okay.
that's just not going to work out.
Okay, so still a little too much even on the minus 135. So maybe that would be a way to stay away. But
That a comment here for the race to 4 goals at plus 100. I think that might be interesting there too.
how would you play the race to the 4 goals there? Would you evaluate that any different? Like how you obviously would evaluate it differently, but how differently do you evaluate this? Because in a situation where you're going to play New Jersey over 3.5, obviously Buffalo still could get to the 4. Maybe in the situation you're not anticipating them to get to the 4, you're kind of thinking this is Devils all the way. They're going to get to the 4 first. It's not going to be an issue there, but you do still have to account for in this one that Buffalo could get that. Now, how do you kind of break this down and determine where a fair price would be on them in that situation?
So I think that plus 100 is a little low. It is an interesting way to look at it. I think that you have to look at the game line and kind of what your projections are. In this case, um, I see New Jersey as a clear favorite both in the market and with my numbers as well. I don't foresee Buffalo giving them a lot of trouble today. So when you're in a situation where you know that you have a heavy favorite, you have a struggling goalie who's going to start for Buffalo, you have a struggling team. I in the Sabres defensively, I think it's pretty fair to think that um, that New Jersey is going to get to 4 goals. Now, it is still the NHL, and it is still tough.
Yeah.
As hard as as easy as it seems sometimes in the NHL, it's still tough to get 4 goals. So I think I would want I would want more than plus 100. But when you look at something like that, I think that's an interesting alternative as well. I would need to spend more time on that, but I think that would be a good way to look at it.
All right, fair enough. I think these markets are always interesting to look at as we're adding more and more. And I mean, even looking at like FanDuel, they continue to promote the first to 5 shots on goal. And it's like whether or not you can find an edge in those things. But regardless, they are interesting markets to continue to watch. Uh, there you go. Insight saying Devils team total over 3.5 minus 122 in regulation at
Regulation.
McKinnon. But yeah, that's the only thing you're going to battle with the regulation on that one. So, have to take that into account, especially someone you're saying you're looking at 125 on the team total. That's not including right. That's not regulation. That's including overtime. Correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So maybe watch out for that one. Watch out for those rules and conditions. Got hit so with some T and C's, and you might end up losing your bet there. But final game of the night. We'll go through this one. If there are more questions in the chat, we will continue to break them down, bring them up here on the show. But last game, we're going to look at the Arizona Coyotes on the road to take on the Colorado Avalanche. Arizona right now 6-1-3 in their last 10. They're on a 2-game losing streak, though, coming into this one. Very, very poor team on the road, 7-22-9 so far this season. Whereas Colorado at home, looking at this one, they're going to look for a bounce back spot after their 5-2 loss to the Penguins the other night. They are currently sitting third in the Central right now, 3 points back of Minnesota, 4 points back of Dallas. You got 2 games in hand on both of those teams, 7-2-1 in their last 10. This is another spot, a huge price here tonight. Are we potentially looking Coyotes minus 1.5, flip the line, alt line on this one? Here's so money.
Well, who's going to be the goalie for Colorado? And I'll have a better answer. Um, I'm very impressed with the Coyotes. I think that it would have been so easy for them to just wrap it up for the season. They're a young team, but they're playing hard. They're playing with structure as much as you can with that lineup, and they're also getting good goaltending as well. So I'm very impressed with that team. Of course, we are going into Colorado, and as you mentioned, they do struggle on the road. But they just played Colorado, I think, a couple of weeks ago now, or a week ago or something, and then and they played them tough. So I think that this team has shown that they can hang in there, even though even when they are overmatched, which they are in most cases. So um, I don't like Arizona on the money line. I don't like them on the +1.5 line either. But on the off chance that we get our friend Jonas Johansson in net for Colorado, um, I think that we that we would be looking at the over there, which is what we should always be doing when we have Jonas Johansson in net. Now, Colorado does have a back-to-back coming up, so realistically, I doubt that we'll see him today, but or we'll see him tonight. But that's something to keep an eye on. Um, when you see Jonas Johansson, you go bet all the overs.
Run to the window. We're taking alt lines there. That's what would happen. That was one thing I was talking about. I was laughing watching the game. I watched that Colorado Senators game, and that was the day that we were talking about here on the show for anyone who missed it. So Money was on Jonas Johansson watch. I think that we locked it in at 6.5. We took the over, and So Money said that if Jonas Johansson played, we were looking at 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5, 9.5. And what did it finish at? It was like 6.5, 5.4. Was that what it was?
Yeah, and at the very end of the game, he makes it just one of the
Yeah.
save of the year candidates as well, of course, right? With that skate save. Otherwise, we would have gotten overtime, would have gotten even more goals. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think let's let's keep an eye out for him. I doubt that it happens, but yeah, if he's in, we go.
So there is a bet here in the chat. Daniel H said his first bet last night was first period puck line minus zero point
Mhm.
0.5 plus 100 win. Looking at this right now as it stands, that is gone. You can find a minus 104. Is first period markets anything that you've gotten yourself into this year? So Money, is that something that piques your interest at all? Have you been able to find edges in those?
So I haven't spent a lot of time on the first period market. I think that would be something that I would like to get into. I think that as the menu expands, I think that those kind of bets or would offer value, especially as the full game and total markets really tighten up here
Right.
as we go year to year. I think that derivatives would be the way to go as we're expanding. So yeah, I would like to spend more time on that, I, but I haven't up to this point.
Right. And now thoughts on this, because Daniel's saying he'll be at the game, so he had to. Although he thinks Arizona will be a live dog. Live betting, is this something you have gotten into this year? I had Alex B. Smith talk about it the other day. I think it might have been last week at some point. He was talking about live betting team to score next, finding situations in that, identifying different ones where it was an interesting strategy. He was talking about if a team goes on the power play, but you think that the other team's penalty kill is good enough to kill it off. Oftentimes, you can bet on the team who's on the penalty kill, at a plus money price to score next goal, based on the fact that the team who's on the power play is likely going to be favored to score next, and then picking off different opportunities like that. Now, that's obviously a very specific market to pick off there. There are many others that you can identify. Is live betting something that you've gotten into? Is it something you avoid, you stay away from? Like, where do you kind of come in on the live betting side of things?
I love live betting. I do it. I do it quite a bit. I think that you have to be really careful as well, because there's very specific things that I'm looking for when I'm betting live. So everything in live betting, they're generally really sharp lines because they're dealing with algorithms and like historical data that we can't calculate quicker than they can, right? But where the edge comes in and where that's deficient is when you see. So I'll give a perfect example in the Edmonton Seattle game on the weekend. We had Grubauer in net, and then he left, and Martin Jones came in. Now, there's no secret how I feel about Martin Jones, right? Like he's a sieve, right? So when he comes in, I know immediately that that the live lines aren't gonna pick up on that right away. You have to get someone in manually to make that adjustment. So for that first little bit, when I'm watching the game and he's coming in, everything is based on their historical algorithm. So at that moment, you have value, um, assuming that your numbers are right. You have value on Edmonton scoring the next goal. You have value on the over in that game. You have the value on Edmonton puck line if you want, right? They were up. I think they were up a goal in that game. So I think if you can identify those kind of situations where you have an edge over, like an informational edge over the historical algorithmic data, that is when you can find the edge in live markets, and that is what I'm looking for when I'm betting live.
Okay, so it is tough to get to, or tough to be able to be, especially with how sharp they are. But there are definitely situations to be able to get in there and do so. So if you that is something you have any interest in, make sure to be sharp on it and sticking around looking at the lines as they move quickly and being able to monitor game situations. But even here, Mike Bromberg
That
saying live betting is tough when watching on TV. Depending on how fast your cable/stream is, it can make a huge difference. Can be held behind 90 seconds at times.
absolutely, and that's for when you're betting a basketball game, for example, you want to bet it during the commercials because obviously it moves a lot quicker. Now, when I'm watching a Canucks game on TV, if it's a home game, then the delay is 6 seconds. If it's a road game, it's 9 seconds. If I'm watching a auto market game, it's about 14 seconds. And then if I'm watching a game on like NHL Game Center that's auto market, yeah, it could be up to 90 seconds, right? Like that's a big disadvantage that you're at. So it depends what I'm watching. I kind of have a chart of like even like the different stations that we get, and I'm watching the games, how much the lag is. So like at that point I can kind of figure out like like what's happening. So like for example, if I'm watching a game and if the live lines are up and like if everything suddenly blacks out, right? I know something happened. Either there's a there's a delayed penalty, which that blackout would be for about 2 to 3 seconds when there's a delayed penalty. If it's for more than that, then I know that a goal has happened, right? So at that point, you can kind of see who's who's moving slower on that. So it's
Right.
those kind of things that I chart. Um, Different stations that you get are going to have different legs, and then different teams that are transmitting, they're going to have different legs as well. Like coming from Bally's in the Florida Panthers game, there's going to be a lot more leg there than an Oilers game on Sportsnet.
Right. Right. Fair enough. Yeah, it's something where every now and then, I mean, for myself, for Leafs games, I have like score notifications on. So I get notifications, and there's times where I'm watching the game, and then I get a little buzz, and it's like the puck's in the neutral zone. I'm like, oh, come
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
Like, I know it's about to happen here. Damn it.
Yeah.
Those things happen. It happens. All right. I want to ask you before we wrap this thing up. You said next year you're going to start looking a little bit more into the props. Now, I'm curious. You're going to spend some time over the summer. NHL season wraps up. It's not going to be something you're going to add on now while the season's still going on. But you go into the summer. What is your process? What's your even thought process going into that and being able to add these props? Where do you start? How do you kind of get into that? What do you look at first? What do you do for starting to build up a repertoire to be able to attack the prop market?
So I do want to look at shots on goals first. I think that there's so from my understanding and like what I've looked at, there's a correlation between the teams that give up shots based based on positional data. So there's the the way that the team structure their defense, where the opposing center might be more inclined to get more shots, or like a left wing, or like whatever it is. Maybe a
Mhm.
team collapses more on defense, and you have and they give up more shots against the opposing defenseman. So it's more those kind of structural things that I want to look at first, and then kind of build out. So if you have a team that is giving up more shots to like defensemen than like the rest of the league, why is that the case, right? And like so like I want to spend more time on that. Then like if that particular team is collapsing when they play defense and they're backing up, is that the case for for the other teams that play like that as well? So it's more I want to start more from like a fundamental kind of structural sense in that sense, and then bug Todd Cordell and Rob Pizzola a lot to like try to figure out how I can kind of incorporate that kind of information.
Yeah, I think those are interesting, especially when I hear Todd talking about some of them. He's talking about teams' tendencies to give up shots to left wingers, and it's like it's obviously makes sense, and this is something to be able to
Yeah,
attack there. But it's something I wouldn't have even really thought of ahead of doing the show and getting to learn from all you guys and hearing this stuff on a daily basis. Like, yeah, these are things that you can get access to that information. You can build those things out. You can find that kind of stuff. It is interesting to see, and then you can start to distinguish some edges within that. But I definitely think that that's useful information for people out there as well who might be looking to attack some of these as well. Um, I'm seeing a question here. Connor Hartle asking, are points bet races to 4 a three-way market? Caesar says Devils plus 105 race to 4, but there is a neither option. I don't know if you have the answer to that, so many. I do not. I don't know. Hope maybe someone in the chat can help out, but I do not have the answer to that myself.
yeah. If there is a neither option, then that's a three-way market. So you're got to be careful there.
Yeah, that would be the three-way market on Caesars. I think Carter was asking if there was one, if there is on. Oh, there you go. Jeff McBride saying it is a three-way on PointsBet as well. So, yeah, look out for that as well. Um, all right, that'll about do it for today's show here. So Money, I appreciate you hopping in. We do have, we'll recap here quickly. We do have one best bet here for tonight. There's 3 games, not the greatest games, not the greatest opportunities for betting here tonight, but I'm sure there's still going to be opportunities for live betting, as So Money brought up some different strategies and things to look at here tonight. So keep your eye on the games. But our one best bet for tonight, we are looking at the over 6 minus 115 in the Islanders Blue Jackets game. That is over 6 minus 115 in the Islanders Blue Jackets game. That is for a full unit here tonight. As you can see, yesterday we were down about a unit on the day on 7 bets. Ended up with a negative 12.3% ROI, but still up on the season, doing well so far this year. So
That
if you do
Rangers
want to
game,
track,
man.
yeah, I know. If you do want to track the picks here so far on the season, see what we've done, you want to see our historicals, you can go to the BetStamp app. You can find it in iOS and Android, and you can find that on web as well. You can find us in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ. Make sure to give us a follow. You see our record, our ROI, total units that we are up so far in the season. You can see all the bets that we've given out so far this year and track them back for this season. But thank you to everyone who tuned in here today. Again, if you do want to sign up at new sportsbooks, you can find the link to that in the description of this video. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit subscribe on this channel, like this video. That helps us continue to grow this. So Money has up on the screen there. That is absolutely perfect. Smash it. Smash the like button. Smash the subscribe. Smash it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So Money, thanks for hopping in on this Friday. Not only will I see the chat back here next Monday, but I will see you here Monday as well, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Looking forward to it. Enjoy your weekend, So Money. Enjoy your weekend, everyone in the chat. And as always, good luck on your bets tonight.